following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 1.
We started this cinematic masterpiece with 61 brave, notable protagonists. As we went on, one by one, they unfortunately fell from the ways of getting outplayed, to misfortune, to just simply wrong place, wrong time. However, now we've reached the final act of this chapter, the final act of this movie. And lo and behold, we have two protagonists left in our field. One of which will walk away as the movie-made champion, and the other asking what if. For Brad, he looks to go back-to-back, something that we have never seen in this league. No one has won the same tournament 2 seasons in a row. Can he be the first to do it? And Mack, who had such a tumultuous path to get to this point, but somehow has still made it here. For the second tournament in a row, we have a 15 seed in the finale. Question is, will he be the one? Will the 15 seed be the one that comes out on top this time? Now is the time to find out. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Movie May finale here in MRE Uno. I am your host, G-Man, and we have what promises to be a really good match for you in this best of 11 between number 8 seed Brad, looking to win Tournament 3 once again, going up against Mack Johnson, who looks to pull off one of the biggest upsets, probably in the league, as he hopes to be the first 15 seed to win a tournament. Let's take a look at both their paths to get here, and I think something interesting to note with them, it's not seen here, but both these players were 0-2 going into this tournament. So they were in a bit of a tough spot heading into here. So not only really great recoveries here, but one of them is going to be able to get on their way to a massive victory here in the league. We start with Brad. A round of 64, had a close call with Tago, but was able to survive that in 7. But the close calls wouldn't stop there, as he had to go up against Diego Yepes, who would look to be one of the more consistent players to start the season. However, that was not too much for Brad. Again, in 7, he was able to survive there. Got a little bit more calm of game, but still a pretty close game with Brock in the regional semifinal. 5-3 in that one. Only took it to 8 rather than 9. But the regional final didn't kept the close matches up with Brad, as once again he had to go the full distance. But once again, being the one that comes out on top with a 5-4 victory. He's had many close calls in this tournament, similar to what he did last season. Could that be a sign of a potential repeat? We'll have to find out. And then we go over to Mack here, who has been one of the more unexpected runs that we've seen in recent memory. Started in the round of 64 in what ultimately ended up being a very bizarre match, but still got the win over number 2 seed Ashley in 6. And that really kick-started the momentum, as he was able to defeat Background, who has had a lot of hype behind him, in 5, and then beat Lane Sanders in 6 after a really strong showing there. But started to cool down a little bit in the regional final here. Had to take a second. No more complete dominance, as that one went 9 against Smith. Had to pull all the stops to get the 15-1 upset in what was a crazy series, but he made it to the final 4 there. And then we jump over into the final 4. where we see what our players were able to do. Again, Brad versus Varigold, the two tournament 3 winners of the league, both going at it. Brad is the one who ends up on top, gets the win and makes it here to the finale. Meanwhile, on the other side, in a very bizarre game, Mack Johnson coming back from being 4-0 down, wins 6 straight to make it to the finale over Abyan in what ends up being a massive what if for Abyan. But now we head into the finale with Brad and Mac. We take a look at the matchup preview here. And again, it's going to be an interesting difference in both these players here. The game's record is not going to be that different. And again, both of them came into this tournament being 0-2, so not a whole lot of games on the season thus far. But Brad 24-7, part of the 24-17, part of the Legends class, and Mac 24-12, part of the Novice class. And then again, a big disparity there. With the best career finish, Brad, of course, won this tournament last season. And for Mac, his best finish was a round of 16 appearance in tournament 4 of last season. Never been to a regional final, never been to a final four, never been to a finale before this tournament, but he broke through the glass on all 3 of those. Can he break the glass ceiling on getting the tournament victory? We'll find out. And then of course the career accolades, Brad with the aforementioned gold, but then also bronze as well, and then Mac with nothing. And the CPU prediction calls for a close one here, as it usually does in these finale games, going with Brad with a 6-5 victory to pull off the, I guess, the 2P in a way. But we'll see if that ends up being what happens. But we'll go over to the stream here. Vapor has left a gift here. I'm not really sure what this is. I was doing an open monologue, and it's the top deck +4, my beloved. We might see one of those here in this one. We'll have to find out. But I'm joined by my co-commentator Tapir. I'm expecting a lot of drives with him tonight. We'll see how this goes. But Tapir, starting these off, this has been a very interesting path for both players to get here to this finale. Any comments on your expectations for tonight, and what kind of drives you're expecting from these two?
Oh, I'm expecting a whole lot of drives today. You cannot underestimate the amount of drives today between Brad and Mack Johnson. Honestly, if you had asked me at the beginning of Movie May, round of 64, pick 2 people that would be in the finale for Movie May, Mack Johnson would not be on that list. He has had a run that nobody saw coming, and I think you said it right. That first match against Ashley in 6 really kind of jump started that miracle run for him. I think he's got what is necessary to pull off the win today, but I think Brad is going to put up a great challenge. I think he's going to be fighting tooth and nail as well, because he'll want that chip also. So I think we're going to see a very solid match tonight as we go maximum of 11 games, and I'm expecting no less than a spectacle, as all finales are. So, best of luck, both players. I'm looking forward to kicking it off here.
All right, Mac won't be in VC, so we have a pre-typed question out for him. But while we're doing that, Brad, going over to you. We talked about it in the pre-show. There's a question for Mac, but we talked about it in the pre-show. Brad, no player has ever won the same tournament twice in the league. You had the opportunity to do that here tonight in a run that has looked pretty similar to what we've seen from your last tournament victory in this tournament last season. What are you expecting tonight? What do you feel you need to do to put yourself in the best position? And quite simply put, how are you feeling going into this match?
I don't know what to expect, okay? Like, I saw Max last game, like, Max not out of it, and he's not going to be out of it no matter what the score is, no matter what the game record is. It doesn't matter. I have to win every single game until the series is over.
All right. And then for Mac, we have the pre-typed question here, so he'll be responding to that now. But Mac, by far your best run in your MRU career. You entered this tournament with potential relegation concerns, and now enters tonight with potential Super League aspirations. What has been your biggest driver in this run, and what do you need tonight to have the final push to officially call yourself the Movie May tournament winner? And he'll be typing up his answer here, and we'll see what he has to respond with. But again, it's been quite the run for both these players, but especially Mack Johnson, who has made upset after upset in this run and has just managed to somehow find a way in all these games. But gonna have to do it one more time tonight. But if he gets the job done here, he will add himself to the list of the Super League field, which so far has been shaped up to be a very interesting field of winners. Again, Nick March Madness came out of nowhere in that run. Won as a 12 seed first time that happened. Myself was in a big sum, randomly popped off in tournament 2 to get the win there, and of course. We'll have our winner here in tournament 3, being someone who started the season 0-2. Will it be Brad, who goes technically back to back with the tournaments, or would it be Mac, who is another player who not many people would have put as a favorite to win? But for Mac, simply put, man, use what I've learned from every single matchup this tournament for this series. I'm not looking the Super League right now. Right now, tonight is my sole focus, but trillions and trillions dollars house money. So either way this goes, I am more than happy with the result. All right. Well put there, but with that being said, this is some late night Emery Uno action, so we'll get things underway. Cyan will be our referee, so he will give the call for game 1. I'm like Trump with the amount
You
of
hit
house
the
money.
lottery with the house money.
Just got that small loan of $1 million, and has been running with it. But Cyan will be our referee. He'll give the call for game number 1 here. Since Brad is the higher seed, he will get the call here. And again, best of 11, so needs 6 to get the victory here. So could be here for a while, but we've seen how some of these games go with the really quick action. But just gonna have to see how this all plays out. But Brad, handing it off to you. You have the first call of the series. Gonna go with 11 here, so a little bit upper mid tier, but gonna be an interesting start of that. But red 8 is gonna be the opener here with the background, and we are underway with the Movie May final act. So opens with a red 0. And Mac's going to go with the immediate switch here. And while we start this game off, I do want to mention this also. This is the first finale with CSR rules. So once one of these players wins on this 11 card start, they cannot go back to 11, unlike previous finales. Tapir, what are your thoughts on how that might affect the pace of the series, and how that might affect some of the strategy with when these guys are picking specific card starts?
Well, I mean, you're going to want to plan out your selections carefully, because you're going to want to time it right to where if you pick one, you're going to have to win on it. You don't really want to take the chance of giving it up and then have to go back to it at a later time if you happen to lose. So I think it is going to be that you're going to be very strategic about what you pick when. And I think it's going to be a little bit of an alternation between low, medium, and the high tier starts today. But we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds.
Yeah. Been playing straight so far with the numbers here, both down to 6 already, but haven't really seen much ammo so far. And Brad's going to keep it that way. Seen a few switches here and there, but just been running the numbers here. And this is really going to be a situation where you don't want to be that first player to the draw. And speaking of ammo, Mac's going to be the one who jumps first with the +4. So tries to pick up the action a little bit here and switches in the blue. Question is now, how will Brad respond to that?
Just wasting no time at all with that +4.
We're gonna go for a wild
Red does have
yellow.
response. Just
Again,
doesn't want that blue at this point in time.
I mean, the ammo hasn't really been seen so far, so, and Mac kind of went for it a little early here, so I'm wondering if he's got something else here that maybe kind of prevents that wild yellow from working out for Brad. It's gonna be another +4, and yeah, that's just gonna be like a plan
well,
A to
there you
finish
go.
things off. So got the double +4 in that one, and for Brad, tried to play the block with the wild one. Unfortunately, not gonna work out there. I guess the only thing I got for Brad here is if there was anything else he could have done there, if that was just a lose-lose situation. Yellow +2. Well, I mean, you still wouldn't have been able to do much there because the color would have been blue, but
I feel like at that point you just delay the inevitable.
oh well.
The only solace you have is that it's still early. You have 10 games left. It's very easy to turn it back around.
Well, actually, it was yellow before, so maybe he could have. Oh wait, he only got it at the plus. Never mind then. I thought if he had it at the start, maybe he could have used it when it was yellow. But if he got that at the +4, then yeah, there was not really a chance to use it. So didn't seem like there was much that Brad could do there. But that's just kind of how some of these games go. But Mac takes the early 1-0 lead. But Brad still got the call, and it's still open table. So gonna try to see what he can do here. Maybe a small adjustment, but. It's kind of a rough way to start for Brad, as not really able to do much with the double +4 from Mac. I'm gonna go 1-up here. Ooh, okay. Tapir, walk me through this one. Blue +2 start.
Well, being it's 12 cards, you might wanna. Well, he isn't going to, but you might wanna use that +2 to your advantage if you can. Just send him back a couple more, and then buy yourself some time. Obviously, Brad didn't take that route. We'll see if he could have, if he has a +2 in the back pocket and just chose not to use it. But for right now, we're going to be heading down to those doors to those numbers as we go to a blue 6. And I'll switch to green here. From Brad, here comes Mac. See if he has a response here. Got a green 5 going.
Yep.
And here comes Brad.
Gonna stick with the greens here, and green 0 pops up once again for the second game in a row. Just, what will Mac do here? He is taking a second. He's gonna go back here, keep it rolling with the green. And looks like the pace has slowed down a bit, and Brad's gonna have the first self draw of the series, which for his spot right now, not necessarily the most ideal. But we'll see what Mac does here, because I mean, if this is a double draw, then not be the worst thing. But Mac can keep going on green, and now Brad's gonna have to try to figure out a way to put himself back in this as he falls behind a bit.
Mac's best bet right now is number efficiency. We'll see if he gets there, or
Well,
if it's going to be
no,
Brad that
actually,
can.
there it is,
Oh,
green +2, and that puts him back into the lead.
well,
Ran himself a bit dry, but had the had the +2 there, but got a closer. So we'll see what he does. Draws again. Again, not necessarily the best position for Brad to be in at the moment, because Mac keeps running these greens and Brad just keeps drawing on him. So tries to play a blue 12, but
blue
changes to the
12, that's a
1.
new one. I'm not quite sure that would work here. That would be Uno Plus.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know if that card exists in any Uno game, but regardless, switching to blue, that might help Brad a little bit here.
To be honest, we didn't think a +10 was possible either until just till No Mercy came out, right?
That is true. But I don't think we'll be playing with no mercy rules anytime soon. Anyways, going into the blue, keeping it on the blue here. Go from the bottom to the top here with the blue 9.
No Mercy would probably be a Grimland thing, right?
If ever, maybe. I'm just hoping that we
If
don't run
ever.
it and make
Yeah,
someone leave the league, because no mercy can definitely cause a lot of heartache.
for sure. And then you're gonna have the comeback.
Ooh, third +4
Gonna be
from
blown to
Mac here.
smithereens.
Once again, goes for it mid
We're
game,
going into
and
yellow now.
yeah, Brad now up to 12. Again, the pace has been kind of slow so far, but Mac's kind of just been in control. Hasn't had a self-draw yet. Question is now, what's the response from Brad here? It's also whether he has the ammo or not to maybe respond, or whether he wants to just keep it cool. He's gonna try the same thing again, except this is kind of inverse colors now. Because last time it was a +4 blue, and then Brad blocked with a wild yellow, but now it's +4 yellow into a wild blue. But Mac's gonna have a yellow wild of his own now, and that's gonna put the pressure back onto Brad.
Brad wants the blue and Mac wants the yellow. It's gonna be a battle of who gets what first.
Brad gonna have to think this through again. He's typing up something here, and he's going to use the +4 now, so... Wanted to try the wild again. Wild block, didn't feel safe. Went for the +4 there to at least give himself a little bit of safety. And it's going to be a 3-card play and 2 more for Brad, as continues to be a bit behind the 8 ball here, but Mac's just kind of been going on the aggressive here and just putting himself out front. A lot of mic noises from Tapir as he looks to await the next drive. But yeah, Brad with double red 6 and finally gets Mac the draw here, so that's going to help Brad get himself back into this a little bit. And just as I say that, he has to draw as well, but I mean, considering with how this series has gone so far with the first game and then how this has been going, might not be the worst scenario. But yeah, Brad gonna have to find a way to put himself out front and try to get this game win here.
We'll see, because at this point it's just going to be draw city all the way around. And it's going to be a good opportunity to fill your hand back up and perhaps get some good drives going.
Yes, I know these drives. We're still waiting for the big ones here. We've had a bit of a small one start, but yeah, Mac's gonna go for the green switch. After Brad puts down the red, I mean, I think that's kind of expected because Mac's definitely closer, but Brad's gonna go for the crossover here. We'll see if Mac can work with the yellow or not, but now he's in a position where he wants to go quickly because Brad is kind of closing the gap a little bit, but as long as it stays numbers and Mac keeps playing, he should be okay. But Brad, with a bit of a type here, might have a bit of a run going to cut the deficit. It's going to be a double, so it does cut the deficit down to about a card and a half, but we'll see what Mac does once again on this yellow. Played 1 card to start. Can he play a second? No, but he actually gets a switch into blue, so technically we could have had a rainbow, but Mac deciding not to do it at first. But now what does Brad do here? Because it's another color switch.
Now remember, Brad wanted that blue earlier, so we have to think that perhaps he has some more.
Well, there's his
and
card.
It's just going to be a race down to the finish. It is going to be Brad with 5 and Mac with 3 left here, as Brad is with the possession right here.
And Brad runs out,
He's
so... Yeah, Mac keeps going. This is not ideal for Brad here, as he is facing only 2-0 down here on his homestand, but what will be Mac's last 2 cards here? Gonna go for a switch here, taking a bit of a risk, but we'll see if it pays off. 3-card switch into the red.
I don't hate that because if it's a +4, it's game over anyway.
It is game over anyways. Yeah, there you go. Another +4 here.
So it's just a matter of self-preservation. So I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, much longer game this time though, but Mac again able to find the +4s early on in this series. I'll just shot this out into the air here since he is listening to the stream here. Mac, I mean, you held control for most of that game, and you were able to just close that one out and go up 2-0. And thoughts on how this series has gone thus far, and any takeaways from the first two games. And then for Brad, did anything line up? Brad, I guess on the contrary, you were kind of a bit behind throughout that one. Just seemed like you couldn't really find a way to throw yourself back into it. Anything that maybe could have gone a little differently in that game, or is that just the way you played? That's just the way you would have played it, no matter what. Brad?
Wait, what's the question again?
You were it felt like you were behind for most of that game. Was there anything you felt you could have maybe done differently, or would you have just played it the way it was no matter what?
Like, I probably could have done something, but I don't know what I could have changed. Like, I probably could have played on a skip draw because I had the red and blue skip for a long time. I just didn't have the right number to use it. I could have done that and hoped he didn't have a skip, I guess, but I don't really know.
All right, well, one more game in the homestand, still can pick anything. It's been 11 and 12, not much success so far there. We'll see what Brad picks for game 3 here, as I need to update the scoreboard. So Brad with game 3 call.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right, gonna go one up again. So
11-12.
I'll be honest, Abyan,
Doesn't.
I don't know if I love this call because I mean, so far the upper mid tier, lower high tier has not really been working for Brad so far. And after this, he's not gonna have control of the card starts. So I think I would have gone something a little differently here, but Brad making the choice to keep going one up and goes to 13. But Mac with a double play here to start off to give himself a bit of a lead here, but Brad once again playing just a number. And Brad drawing really early on, and I was saying this before, I wasn't sure how I felt about the 13, and so far the green is not treating him very kindly.
And that's crazy too on a 13 start because you would assume he'd have more green than that. But that's just sometimes how the cards come out.
Brad goes with the yellow 4, Mac with the crossover here, and Mac has just kind of been really being the one that's kind of been dictating most of this game so far.
Then G, back to your point there on the card start. I think if I'm down 2-0, maybe I want to go for like a 7 or an 8, just to take a little bit of the pressure off. But I don't know if I'd want to go 5 or 6 yet. That would probably be something for later when I get my homestand back. But 7 or 8 probably would have been the sweet spot there. But we'll see how 13 plays out here. As we go to a blue 8 from Brad, here comes Mac for response. Maybe he'll be able to run those blues. And he does.
Double from Brad here, as again he's trying to throw himself back out front, but Mac's still with that lead here. And Mac again just playing the cards here. We haven't seen a lot of self draws from Mac so far in this series. We've seen quite a few from Brad, but so far things are just kind of lining up for Mac, and he's hoping to maybe go up 3-0 here. Again, Mac taking a second to collect himself. Again, just looking over the cards. And it's gonna be a three card run here with the +4 in the red. And now he puts himself
Mac's
in
already down to dose. Last chance for Brad to do anything, really.
potential check here.
Doesn't have much time left. And of course, there's six extra freshies, so maybe you got something off those. Yeah,
And
there's
yeah,
plus
all
six
right.
in return. Looking for more, perhaps, or maybe just the triple. Just the triple here. Close it off.
And there's a draw.
And we are back
That's
to even 9 versus 9 here, as it is
actually
Brad's.
it's going to be a critical draw there for Brad because we haven't seen a lot of self draws from Max so far. I mean, look at the stats. Yeah, it's only his third of the series, so that's big for Brad, especially with that many cards left. Now we could just keep running the green here, but he's got to be careful not place the wrong number. And just as I say that, he switches off to yellow. So, Brad, we'll see how that turns out. Maybe wanted to run green a little longer, but now we got the switch into yellow.
Now, of course, Brad wanted that yellow earlier, so maybe this is just going to be an indication of sort of a compromise between the players here where they can run yellow for a little bit. Let's see. Double play from each, and it goes back to Brad here.
And we're just running the doubles here, and keeps it going with the yellow here. And I mean, this is kind of the I mean, in a way, this is kind of the first time in this series where Brad, in a way, is somewhat in control. But again, that could very much be lost quickly. And just say that it's another draw. So Mac looking to keep it going, and he does, and he takes back the lead once more.
Yeah, so it just looks to me like Brad's just not getting anything to line up, right?
Well, he gets a
Because
wild though,
sometimes,
so that
well,
helps line
that
him
is
up a bit.
true. Um, and hopefully he'll have a little more to continue off of that. But sometimes it just happens that you draw. Let's say you draw on a yellow, your opponent switches to red, and then you just drew another yellow, and you got to get rid of it, right? So it's like it's always unpredictable what you're going to get from a draw.
I was about to say if that might be a bit of a problem for Brad, that it might have actually led to what Mac needs, but a +2 to respond and a draw from Mac, and ultimately this pans out for Brad here, as he plays his own card and forces Mac to draw.
He didn't even get anything off those extra
Ooh,
freshies
and
there.
wow. Okay,
He
got the
does
switch
get a
stack to
switch
red.
to red.
I mean, I
But
was
Brad is.
mentioning, yeah, I was mentioning it earlier.
Go
Is
ahead.
there any greens left? No.
There it is. Yeah.
There is 2 reds left, and Brad's gonna get one on the board here, so 13 does end up working out for now, but still gonna have to recover a bit. 6 minutes on the dot for that game. Brad, that was definitely another game where you fell behind, but I think this time you're able to find a way to put yourself back into it. I do want to ask also, was that wild top deck the massive difference for you in keeping yourself afloat and getting the game win, or was there something else at play with that?
Thing is, when I drew there at the end, I actually top decked the +2, and like I realized I had to play that, so I did, and the numbers lined up.
And
Like
so
I had that while before.
so saw the path to the finish, won for it, and ended up being successful. So that works out for Brad here to get himself on the board here and try to get some momentum back on his side. For Mac, definitely had control for a good chunk of that game, but I think lost it towards the end with the wild blue there. Any comments on anything you felt maybe could have gone a little differently there, or was that just kind of one that you were due for and not much else you could have done there? But you have the you hit the homestand now for the next 3 games, so could capitalize off this as you exit 2-1 right now.
And while we wait for Mac's response, I just want to ask Brad there. Brad, right there near the top of the game, you played that yellow 4 and then that undercut from Mac to red. Did you have any other yellow there? Were you hoping to just play the yellow for a while and then he kind of threw a wrench in your system? Talk to me on that.
I mean, yeah, if you at the start, I did have a few other yellow cards I was wanting to play. I was trying
Okay,
to
yeah,
actually
just kind of running
two
it, yeah.
color it, like, because I really wanted blue and yellow at the start.
Yeah, so just a way to get those yellows down and then switch to blue later. Yeah, sometimes that happens, right? Because you only have limited options there.
All right, and then for Mac here, just needed more connections in the numbers, but I feel I was due a loss. Well, it may have been due a loss, but he is now due for a homestand here. As we go to game 4, we'll have the control for the next 3. Just can't pick 11 and 12. And he's gonna go the opposite way, Brad, and he's gonna go down. So he's gonna start with 10. We'll see how that goes, and we have a free choice start here to kick things off.
All right. Best kind of free choice is a wild free choice.
Definitely,
And it's a +4.
not quite. But oh wait, no, the +4 opening, yeah. That also makes it interesting because now there's one less +4 in the deck, so that's gonna be a little bit more scarce. But we're starting off with blue here, and that works out horribly for Mac. He was hoping for a quick switch and did not get it. Now we'll see what Brad does with this blue. Brad's gonna give the switch, so
Interesting.
maybe a slight
That's a very unique start because you would expect Brad to just shove him into Draw City for a while. That's interesting. We'll
bail
see how
there,
that
but
unfolds.
also could have been that Brad had no more blues as well, so this could be a 3-color game, but Mac's gonna run with red for now.
And then you can expect blue to show up more later in the game because once you have drawing some more, they're going to fill their hand up with blue and then you got to get rid of them. So I do fully expect blue to show up later. This will not be its final occurrence.
Alright, Brad keeps it rolling on the reds with a double, and just gonna keep the lead he's built right now, where he's hoping to go make it 2-2. Thing is, how long can this red be run? So we've been on it for a little bit.
It's been mostly numbers. We just had that one lone skip, and then the rest have been numbers here. No +2s and no reverses. I'd say if they don't want to stay in red anymore, it's just going to have to be a color switch. I don't see any wilds being played right now. Well,
Okay,
make a liar
so
out of me.
speaking of wilds, Brad is actually gonna be the one who jumps first for the +4 this time, and he gets it into yellow. Mac not really able to do much with that for now, and just goes with the numbers here. We'll see if Brad can either get the check, and that's probably gonna be game here. I'd be surprised if it isn't.
He's just got 2 left, possible.
Yeah, there
Yep,
it
there
is.
you go.
All right, 247. I mean that was roughly plan A. But yeah, I don't got much for that. That was kind of similar to game 1 in a way, but Brad, it's 2-2. So, any thoughts on that? Knew I had to play that aggressively. Fair enough. All right. Well, I mean, Tapir, you got anything, or otherwise we could just go to game 5.
Well, I mean, the only thing is just on those hands where you've got the aggression, you just kind of have to go for it. There's really no slow playing when you get to that point because if you try to be fancy, your opponent can just wreck you and throw a wrench in your system. So I respect that. Playing aggressively, just get to that plan A, get the win, move on. So good job.
For Mac, nothing I could have done there aside from hope Brad would switch off the blue early, and all I had was numbers, like myself. All right, fair enough. In that case, we'll go to game 5 here, and I'll type that so we just get a quick response, and we go with 14 here. Yeah, since our riff is a-okay, I will just do this. Boom, and this also lets me line up. There we go. Blue 7 is going to be the start for game 5.
So if you notice, he went 10 and then 14. So it looks like he's sort of putting a bookend on that 11, 12, 13. He's going to have one more homestand after this game, I
That
believe.
is maybe a concerning sign for Mac.
Ooh.
That doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't have blue, but usually when you
Very
go for
true.
that play early on, um, it's a variety of hands he might have. So,
And that's a
sometimes,
further indication
yeah,
that he switched off of it. So
I
that's very
yeah.
interesting.
Mhm.
2 games in a row that it's been very blue scarce.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mac has a little bit of blue, but man, that's gonna be an interesting call for him. Brad has no red now, so both with an absurdly weak color on paper, and that's not gonna help Brad either, as he can't play it. Self ditto here. Ironically, I think it's the first ditto of the entire series.
I believe so. But
Yeah,
that's actually, the best move because if you drew on the first one, you're going to draw on the second one. And
yeah.
so
Well,
Matt's just going to run the reds here.
only a top deck would save you there, and right now, and that was kind of a disastrous stint for Brad there, as he finally gets to switch off the green. And Mac's gonna have another one, so that's 3 ones in his hand so far. We'll see if there's any more that pop up.
It's like, of course, he could have played it, 2 turns earlier, but why would you do that? Just force your opponent to draw one more. Just makes sense.
Alright, green
As we go to a
6.
green 6.
And we go back into red here. Will Brad be grimacing at that, or does he have a switch out? He does have a switch out, and we go into blue, and now this might be a bit of a test on the blue here. And Mac is still not going to allow it to happen, so we get the switch into green.
A little bit of a full circle moment there. Green, red, blue, green. Looking for quint 6s here.
Green 8.
Still, nope, just a green 8. Interesting to point out that there was still rainbow possibility there after that second green 6. If you played the yellow 6, it would have been a rainbow there. Didn't happen though. We got a green 5 here. Now it's going to be Brad's turn to strike back with a green 3.
Yellow 3. We'll see if that yellow 6 emerges later. But Mac just kind of, again, rolling, but avoiding that blue for now.
And that is going to be the first appearance of yellow, making Pandora's box wide open. Of course, we still have that red to deal with back there with Brad there. We'll see if he tries to get back to it at some point, or if maybe he's just going to be comfortable dealing with the other colors for right now. He seems to be loading up here, so maybe we'll see a run of some sort. He's up to
Yeah.
10, so I don't think this is going to be game. It could be a run for Pack, though. Mac, if he gets there.
We'll see,
But we'll see
but
what Brad does.
I mean, this is the first time we've seen yellow, so I'm wondering if it's some sort of run on yellow, maybe into a different color, but Brad is taking a while on this one. And it's no run to be found. It's just going to be a yellow 8.
That's not a run, that's a walk.
All right. Tried to call out when he had 2 cards. Not quite going to work, but
Close, but no cigar.
Gonna be a double here.
Welcome back, Cody. It is going to be Brad here with 9 cards. Hopefully, he has a couple options.
Pressure's gonna be a little higher on this one, so if he had something, maybe he held off on it, and he did hold off on it. This time he's gonna pounce on it, and it's gonna be a
But
+4,
he's
but
keeping
he's
it yellow.
keeping it yellow, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes for Brad here, as he feels confident on this yellow here, but needs to find a draw from Mac here.
I feel like if I'm Brad in that situation, I'm guessing that Matt doesn't have any yellow left. but I just can't take that chance that he has a +4.
Well,
But he does have some yellow. He's had 2 yellow in the back pocket. Now, we don't know if he got those off the draw. We won't know that at the moment, but we're still in yellow right now, and it is
all
Max's
right, gonna
turn
power
to.
play here.
Oh, he's
So
gonna use the power play, the first of 2 in the series.
wild red.
Gonna go for a red wild, and this should be game here.
Wow.
Yep.
So Mac did not actually have any blue there, so that's kind of bizarre. But Mac's gonna get the win here, and we seem to be having bundles of 2 for these wins so far. So Mac potentially in a position to win game number 6 here, but we'll have to see. Mac, walk me through your thoughts on using the power play there. Do have 2 of them, so still got 1 left. But any comments on why you chose the power play right then and there instead of maybe at a later time? And then while Mac types for Brad, you went for the +4 on the same color there. In towards the end of that game. Walk me through your thought process on that one and what you were hoping to get out of that.
It's like I didn't trust that like Pack wouldn't be able to end it there, and I guess it was a bad play, but at least it forced out the wild. I mean the power play. Like, so like, did Pack have all yellow there?
He had all yellow after before the power play, yeah.
Oh, okay. So like, it just extended the game and used the power play. Oh well.
All right. Then for Mac, only way I saw securing the W for this game, honestly, without risking another +4 or +2 from Brad. Um, but yeah, I mean, good power play, but we'll see how it all pans out here. But I mean, Sapir, you got any comments after that? Otherwise, we'll be heading off to game number 6.
I mean, a win is a win, right? The only thing I would add is if you're scared of the +4, the +2, uh, I mean, Brad, he had 7 cards. I don't think it was going to be a run there. So maybe you could have bought yourself some time. But that's just me. I respect the power play usage. And like I said, a win is a win. You're up 3-2, still 1 left. And there's still a lot of games left to go.
All right, well, we'll head off to game 6 here. Mac with a 3-2 lead. We'll see if he can make it 4-2 here, or if it'll be tied. Okay, gonna go back to 13. So this is the first time we're returning to a card start here. He's allowed to do that. He lost on 13 the first time, so can pick 13. As we open with a yellow reverse, and I actually think besides that +4, this opening, this is the first special card start.
I think you may be right. He is going to put a double play on top of that and make it a yellow 6. Going to be Brad to respond here. Let's see, first play of the game.
And
He's
Mac
going to go
open.
from that yellow 6 into blue.
Again, Mac opened with that double here, so that gives him a bit of a lead here, but Brad's gonna go for the switch right away, and now gonna try to control this game, which, I mean, so far in this series, Mac has had a good bit of control, but Brad trying to throw his hat into the ring for some of this now, as he'd like to make this a split on the home stands, really. And now we go back into the yellow now, so wants to return to the yellow here. We'll see if Mac likes that or not. He's going to be fine with it for now. The Grim 7 there, but can Brad keep it going on the yellow, or was that a bait switch? Not a bait for now. Yellow 3. Quick check of the table here. There you go. Ooh, and +6 is going to be thrown on here as we go into green now with a 3-card switch. Brad up to 16.
That is going to set Brad way back, but it is his turn here, so he might be able to respond, or he's just going to play it cool here.
We've seen him play it cool on some of these instances before, but we've also seen him go for a quick jab to respond back. So we'll see what the call is from Brad here, but you don't usually see him go for these massive like plus 20s to respond, but we'll see. Just gonna play it cool. Max
The
just
only
gonna play
way I would
limits as
see
well.
him do that, only way I'd see him do that is if he just wanted to get it back to even. So let's say you
Ooh.
just give like a +6 makes it 12, and it's kind of 12-12 even.
Oh.
That would be the only way that I would see him do that.
Well, Brad tried to go into the yellow here, but Mac's gonna have the crossover into the red now, and once again, Mac getting the upper hand here. And Brad really wants that wild, so gonna use the wild yellow here. Gonna force out what Mac has.
It would just, I assume, have to be a draw here.
Well,
Oh, well, no, I guess not.
that's a aggressive play from Mac here,
That's,
and that's gotta be raising the
that's a play.
alarms for Brad. Yeah, that's another wild yellow
Yeah.
here. Um,
Now, if it's another +4, right?
that's gonna be really
To
unfortunate for
finish for
Brad
Mac.
if that's the case, and it
Oh
is.
my gosh. Oh my gosh, dude. That's crazy.
That is
That's
actually
crazy work.
And that might have just been ultimately a bit of a problem for Brad here. May have been a little bit too precautious there, especially if he had some of the ammo to fight that back. But that's going to be a rough one because that's the second time we've seen Mac have that double +4.
Ooh. Yeah, just saving
I have
those in the back
nothing.
pocket. So, because I mean, we had already seen some of the +4s get used already, so that is kind of just playing the percentages a little bit. So again, I don't really hate that. I don't hate waiting and seeing what happens. Unfortunately, got unlucky there, but it's gonna be Mac to take game 6, and the duos are still holding up. We had 2-2 and 2 here. So following that, it should be Brad's victory here in game 7, but we'll see if that holds up or if Mac is going to break that pattern here.
Brad's gonna need that trend to continue here, but he's gonna have to break it at some point. Brad, I mean, you mentioned you had only wilds all game. Any comments after that one? Definitely a loss. I felt like maybe could have gotten away from you ultimately, but any comments after that one? It just seems like the +4s have been the bane of your existence so far.
I don't know. Time for next game, I guess.
All right. Mac kind of answered the question I was going to ask, so we're good there, but we'll jump to game 7 here. And Brad's going to have the call, just can't pick 13 or 10. 14. All right, so he's going to try something similar with what Mac did, going back to a card start he lost on. But Tapir, I mean, we have seen a lot of the upper tier so far. We've really not seen any of the lower tiers so far in the series. Any thoughts on that specifically?
Not right now. I mean, it just could be a sign that these players want to stay kind of where they're comfortable at. I don't think it's a secret that not a lot of players like the 5s and 6s. Obviously, it would be a captain thing. The 7, obviously, the OG 8 and 9 are kind of just that low mid tier, but we're still staying in the upper high tier here. So we'll see how that shakes out.
I know
As we're
Brad,
blue 7 from Brad here.
I know Brad likes high tier, but I'm a bit surprised he still hasn't tried to explore that lower tier a little bit. Not saying like a 5 or 6, but I feel like an 8 card start maybe would have been something to explore here, especially with the opportunity where he could maybe expend it a bit. But he is down at 4-2 here, so any further losses here are not going to help his case. But rolling with the blue right now, but Brad is going to switch it into the red. Yellow, the only one we haven't seen thus far, looking to open Pandora's, but Matt going to be able to, again, run it. Again, just pulling up the stats once more. It's been Brad having a lot of these self-draws here. Mac's been kind of loosely falling behind that, but only 6 compared to 10. But surely been able to do a good job in just running these cards down, and especially you see the cards drawn difference there. Massive, and it's going to become even more massive here as a +2 gets thrown on here with a 5-card run.
That is one of the longer drives we've seen today. 5 cards.
Longest, I think, so far. I think I saw the stats, it was 4 and 3, so that's the longest drive thus far, but I mean, for Brad, it might be just a little bit frustrating right now, but I mean, for him, really, this is where the mentality is going to play an important part, even if he's not getting the hands here. But he's going to be a bit aggressive here. Five card drive of his own here with the +6 on top of it.
A little bit of a higher quality drive. +6.
Again, Brad really wanting to get this game win here because 5-2 with Mac having 1 power play, it could be a recipe for disaster. But Brad looking to do anything he can to make this 4-3.
And for Mac, obviously a 5-2 is a whole lot better than a 4-3 at this point. Because then you're only 1 away from the win there, from the all-time Movie May championship.
And again, Brad looking for back-to-back here. He won Tournament 3 last season. He's looking to win Tournament 3 once again. And with how this season has gone so far, it could be important, especially with none of these tournaments being able to be predictable whatsoever so far. So this tournament win could be huge. And I mean, we saw the Tournament 3 finalists last season not make Super League, so the difference of winning and losing here could end up being big.
Well, I mean, we already touched on how Mac was borderline in relegation mode, and then he just shot back up to new heights, and now he's here in the finale, and he's 2 away from the championship winner. And then obviously, if he does get that win, that'll be an auto lock for Super League. So it's going to be pretty much from 0 to hero for him at this point.
Brad able to run this yellow right now, so in a relatively good spot. But Mac taking a bit for this next play. And I mean, it just seems like Mac's been able to have a decent grasp of the ammo at the right time so far, so we'll see if we see some more of that, or maybe just plays it cool with a number or just a switch. And there's another +4 there from Mac, and that's gonna I think that's gonna actually give him a slight lead here, but that green 6 will technically tie it. But Mac has the advantage now. And Mac switches off to the blue right away. Yeah, this is panning out to be an interesting game here. This is going to be crucial. Because again, for Brad, you got to wonder if he's getting anything off these +4s or not. But so far, it looks like to be just numbers. Blue 2.
Still running down those blues here. Blue 5. Here comes Brad.
Brad playing his own card there also.
Oh, very true, yep.
And now the blue 9, Nick, who is also here. And Mac is the first one to draw here, so if Brad could keep this going here, he might be in a good spot to take this game. Or he might just take the game outright here. He is typing a bit.
He is within striking distance, 3 cards. He could get there. Could even be a similar situation with the power play usage. If he wants to throw a wild.
Yellow
Nope, just
9.
a
Okay,
blue 9.
so goes for a switch here. And then for our East Coast viewers, welcome. We're in Saturday now. But This is now technically a finale that's taken 2 days. Haha, funny joke. But besides that, this opens up an interesting possibility for Mac here. Blue had nothing left there, but is there anything on yellow that maybe he could use to respond with? And again, Brad took a while on that one, so wasn't sure what to do here, but Mac's gonna go with a wild here. And that might have actually just foiled Brad. I'm wondering if
That possibly could have been a top deck.
I'm wondering also if it was Brad just considering whether the power play or not there. And if that was the case, that might be a massive what if for this series.
That could have changed the entire trajectory, you would think.
Gets a top
It's going to
deck
be Pack here with the 2 looking for check.
gets
He
a
is
top
going to
deck
use his
green,
last
but
power
Mac's
play.
gonna use his last power play here to try to force himself into a better position. As table, he missed the call.
Oh. Oh, that's going to hurt.
Oh man,
That is going to sting.
that is not what you need in a finale here. As the power play has suddenly been pretty much burnt. And for Brad here, a major opportunity if he could get this game win. Was just a bit short of getting the 5-2 lead, and Brad just staying composed to make sure he had that call out ready. Saw him try to do it a few times in this series, but ultimately Mac had the call. This time he did not. As I think that scared some people away. And Brad's at Uno now on red, and this could be a massive game steal here for Brad. Mac at Uno. Can Brad get the finish?
A crazy momentum shift here.
No finish for
Out.
Brad.
Is Pack here to rescue it?
Nothing for Mac either, and now we're in top deck territory.
All right, it's going to be who has the answer first.
Neither gets it.
If Mac keeps the win here, it's going to be a massive momentum retention. But I think if Brad gets it, it's going to suck all the wind right out of his sails.
Brad has got to be like full steam ahead on making sure he gets this game win because he does not want to give Mac the opportunity to get escape with a power play burn. But that could be a massive pivotal moment that we look back on. As Draw City continues on the red here, a straight card for both, forcing them to keep the draws going.
We're up to here.
As Tapir
So Far Cry
dies. Yeah.
Oh, am I good now?
You're good now, yeah.
Was it my mic again?
I think it was your internet. Alright, Brad's gonna go for the +2s, red skip,
weird.
and that's gonna split his cards in half. So I think he was just looking for a closer there. Mac's gonna be able to have a red play here, red 3. Brad looking for potentially the switch here now. Does not get it. Can Mac keep it going on the red though? No, he cannot. Now we're back at Draw City. Man, yeah, I mean, again, we're still talking about it, but that call out definitely could change the tone of this series, but no finish yet. Still on the drawback here in the Draw City. Mac looking for a type here. And it's, Jesus, it's a +12. That puts Brad at 18. Mac does not want to take any chances here.
What on earth is going on here? He's like, okay, forget this, right?
Well,
just buying some time at this point.
I mean, you look at it here, there's only 1 +2 left, but there's 3 +4s left, so... that's going to be an interesting call.
If Brad somehow scooped up all 3 of those +4s, I don't know what I would think. That would just be a crazy shift.
Based off the comment here, that does not seem like he got any of them potentially, but he's gonna get a +2, so that helps him out a little bit. At 11 minutes
get that
now.
last +2 of the deck.
Yeah, this is the longest game of the series. And Mack's gonna get a green switch off that, so... But again, Brad has 17 cards, so you would think the options are plentiful here. But at the same time also, if Mack's hand is all over the place, that could actually cost him. Again,
on the other hand, we haven't seen green in for... See, and that's what I was thinking, Brad, with the red wild switch. We haven't seen green in forever. So I'm wondering if Mac just wanted to run those greens down and hopefully dodge the numbers.
Brad draws on red with 16 cards.
That's the KT Classic, ain't it?
I guess that would be that would be a KT Classic, but I'm surprised that Brad went for the draw here. As the table interaction is failing me. There you go. Matt gets a +4, and I'm wondering if the frustration is going to be piling up here for Brad.
Oh, moly. After 18... That's
9-3 on the +4s here.
That's... I guess the reason Brad didn't get any +2s is because Mac already had them all. Well, it could be possible.
Well,
right?
I mean, there's no +2s left, but there's still 3 +4. Well, now 2 +4s, but that could be concerning for Brad, especially if he's looking at
reverses.
Another wild and is trying to force the stall out once again. Another draw. He can't draw here though, because Brad's at 20. So forces the first draw out of Mac, but Brad's not going to be able to draw here though, since drawback rule. Red 9. I mean, at this point, it's really just trying to be careful here. Gets the first one. I mean, if he has self ditto here, you might that might work out. But gonna take a gamble here and switch to blue. Mac is able to play it, but I'm really curious how much red there even is at this point from either player. I mean, again, looking at history, there's still clearly red cards left, but I'm just really not sure where these reds are falling at this point.
I feel like we're just super juiced, right?
Well, that's going to be...
just not a lot left.
That's going to be crucial for Brad here. There's another draw here, so that's blue and red out for Mac.
Yeah, Mac, I think, is going to be on 2 color, and Brad's going to want to see if he can dodge the numbers. He's going to be playing Minesweeper at this point, trying to dodge the wrong numbers and get Mac to draw us back some more.
I mean, at most 5 wrong numbers here, but just got to figure out a way to get this done. He is still really far back here, but I mean, getting this game win is going to be critical for Brad here. Blue 3, nothing from Max, so gets a right number. Might try to go for it again here.
And maybe he's playing in percentages there because there's only 1 3 left, the yellow one. So maybe he was just banking on not having that yellow 3.
That is a good point. This is really where card history is going to start playing a factor here, because I feel like these players might be looking at that. It's
going to be Brad here playing percentage Uno.
I mean, the only drawing opportunities left are the 2 +4s. All the +2s again are gone, but not a lot of reverses left too. But it's good amount of skips left on the table, so could expect maybe a run, but maybe not right now. Yeah, Brad really taking his time on this one. Goes with 6. Slightly less
Now that
probable, but
conversely is gonna be
that's
it's gonna
that's
be
uh
safe for him, but that could have been a problem.
that's not actually bad for Brad right now. Because that is a top deck, but the only thing is that doesn't really confirm the 6. Goes with 8 now, which is going to be a risky one, and there it is. Although,
Yeah,
hold on.
there's the switch.
Wait a second.
Obviously, there's just not enough
Ooh, okay.
blue left now.
Yeah, no, there's not going to be a
We're
blue
pretty
switch
much
here.
juiced on all the blue.
Yeah, Mac found that switch here. And now that's gonna put Brad into another thinking scenario. Green's 0. I think the problem with green now is this is another unknown card, and it's another draw from Mac, and suddenly this is big for Brad because I think at this point he knows which color he needs to avoid. The problem is, though, if he hits a lot of
Very
that color,
true.
that might be a problem.
It's going to be a race against the clock now. And I think that's the benefit of having the card history, right? Because you can look and see that that's the last 0. And, there's only one reverse, one skip green. No more +2s. All the blues are juiced pretty much. So it's going to be interesting to see just how well they can
I mean,
use card history to their advantage now that we have it.
and I think he knows that as well because he just played the 7, which there's been both the yellow 7s are gone, so it's gonna force another draw out of Mac. Man, no more freebies
It's
though
going to be a
after that
matter
one.
of how. It's going to be a matter of how much can you force Mac to draw here without a penalty
So
for yourself.
just past 18 minutes. Again, Brad just
So
taking his
obviously
time.
the longest game of the series so far, and longer than the first 3 games combined.
8 was the original switch. And it goes into red. Okay, so this might
That
not be
might be
the
dangerous
this might not be the worst thing for Brad, but he's just got to be careful here.
because now we're just at this point
Tapir's internet is going away.
we're blue. We already ruled that. Good
Tapir,
now.
Tapir, your internet's like gone. Now you're good, but yeah.
Okay, one.
Yeah. Okay. So plays it safe, but has the reverses here. Puts it back onto green. And now he's just got to think which number he wants to try for next. Again, I'm going to keep bringing up the card history here.
Okay, how's that?
Because
Testing.
I think for the viewers is going to be important. That should be good. I don't know if a testing really is really going to help with that because it's more like if you talk long sentences and then just sputters out randomly. But gonna go with a 9. It's a ditto, so puts a
We'll see
bit
how it
of
works, right?
pressure on Brad there. But Brad
I keep
has
thinking it's my mic that does that, so
Mhm.
either it's that or the internet or the phone
Mhm.
or either
Anyway,
one.
anyways, for Brad, he really has cut the deficit down now. But again, these plays, he's just gotta really think through these, because at this point, this is really where the luck might be just like luck might just be thrown out the door, and this is really just gonna come down to critical thinking here. Mac keeps it going here. It's another red. Still no yellow though.
And there is a yellow 6 still, so it could be Brad's opportunity to switch if he wants to, if he has that card.
The problem is we have
Or
not
he's
seen yellow in
just
so long, so he's gonna go for it here.
there it is.
Gonna take a big swing. Mac has it, which is partially what I was wondering. Now, oh man, this is where it's full risk here. I think Brad may have known that switching the yellow is going to be risky, but may see a path somewhere.
Notably, we're getting closer and closer to that reshuffle. So once we hit that point, it's going to be more luck heavy now.
Thing is, I don't
Because
even
then
know if
you're
we're
not going
gonna.
to be able to rely on that
I don't know if we're
history.
gonna get there. He's gonna go for the wild green. And that ultimately does not
Oh,
pan out. Because Mack
I
has the
guess it
last
doesn't matter.
+4. Man. That yellow switch, I think, ultimately costed Brad there. Because that was the stray card that Mack was missing. But yeah, Mack really able to escape with that one. Ultimately, a massive, massive fumble on the power play, but Brad not able to capitalize. Yeah, no, no, it did not. No, it did not. But yeah, I mean 10-3 on the +4s. But Brad, I mean, I think the moment that the game went up in smoke there was the switch, the choice to switch into yellow instead of maybe going for a wild there. Um, any comments on that game? I mean, you were able to get the call out to keep that going, but ultimately the 21 card comeback proved to be a little too much there.
I mean, like, I tried, but, like, I did all I could, basically. Like, I could have switched better, but, like, I wanted to save that last wild. Because, like, I knew in the card history there were 2+4s left, and I didn't have one. So I knew he was holding on to one. So, like, what am I supposed to do when he has a +4 and I don't?
Well, ultimately didn't work out, but Mac won away, but has no power play. Mac, walk me through your thoughts on that game, the power play mess up, and just kind of trying to keep yourself alive there. You went for a full swing with the +12, and then eventually the +4 to make it up to 21. But I think throughout most of the series, you have just been able to find +4 after +4. This has really been helping you. But any comments here as you're now one away? 'Brad wins 4 games in a row, trust. Well, I mean, Mac does not have the power play, so Brad does technically have an opportunity to either block a run or just keep himself alive. So power play mess up really screwed with me, but by some miracle I was able to hold Brad off, especially with getting lucky and getting majority of the +4s that game. Well, yeah, that's kind of how that rolls, but game 8 now. I'm pretty sure it's still Brad's. Well, I do want to check that. Yes, it's still Brad's, so Brad has the call here. We've seen the log. We'll see what Brad decides to go with. $12. Okay.
So we are really staying in
Another
that
+4. Oh
double-digit
man,
territory. Wow.
that's another That's another wild +4 start. Um, again, I don't know if I like that call. Although last time I said that Brad did win the game, so I just think there's been a lot of hesitation to go on that lower tier, but we stuck with a middle high tier most of the series, and Brad's down 5-2, so I'm not sure on how this is gonna play out, but start goes with red here to start, and both are playing it so far, but Mac's gonna have the first switch. Again, look at one more stats one more time here, assuming it wants to load here. We've had multiple interaction fails here, but thankfully the bot has not exploded into a million pieces. Um, that's the important thing, because you don't want that in a finale. But
It exploded into a billion pieces.
yeah, we don't want that. Double from Brad to give himself the lead. Okay, there's the stats. I mean, you kind of just see there. I mean, Brad has had advantage on wilds, but I mean, the +4 difference has been massive. Everything else has surprisingly been even, but it's really been that +4 difference and just a few untimely switches that have really been doing Brad in, but goes with yellow now. Mac able to play it. Brad has the lead because of that double. Again, Brad's just got to be careful here. He's not in a bad... He's not in a horrible, horrible position since Mac has no more power plays and Brad has 2, but still not a very good one. Mac with the yellow 8. And again, Brad just trying to work this out here. Goes into the red now with the switch. Mac wants to keep the yellow.
Going back into the yellow there.
And Brad still has some
And
left
zero
over.
sugar yellow.
Brad still has some leftover yellow. Just quick table
Very
check
interesting,
here.
which means he prioritized
Never
red over
mind.
yellow there. Oh,
Oop,
my
and
bad.
there's a 3-card run into green. Can the table function work, please? It's not. That's not good. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Yep, got you.
Sometimes just gotta go with the old-fashioned way.
The old brute force.
That's a big run here with Brad. Goes down
That's
to
gonna
2
be
with
huge.
+4. Was struggling with the +4s before, but gets a +4 now and puts himself in a decently favorable spot. But what's the response from Mac? We've seen him have the response with the +4s a majority of this series, so we'll see if he gets another one here. And could it be another one from a +4 itself? No, it's gonna be a +6. Seen quite a bit of those from Mac. 8 to 5.
Just like that, the pendulum shifted.
Yeah, and again, Brad just gets thrown back once more. Blue 1 from Brad. Nothing crazy to respond with. And Mac has gotten the switch into red now. I think the problem for Brad is Mac has been doing a lot of these switches at weird times, and I think it's really been messing with figuring out what Mac has. And Brad has drawn on the red, and so has Mac, so Mac may have been hoping for an immediate switch, just didn't get it, but now we have a double draw city here. Mac with the top deck. Again, there you go, table functions working. There's your table. Brad's gonna go for the switch of the blue. Does Mac have any? Mac has a crossover into green, and again, he's just been dictating the colors here. Let me try to see if I can find the stats from before. I can't.
It's gonna be Mac back down to 3. And now he's at 2. It'll be double dose, and
Brad draws
Brad
once again.
is drawing. Is it Mac for the win here?
I mean, it would be
He
kind of a
is
fitting
at
way.
2
It would be a
cards.
fitting way for a double +4 finish. Doesn't have the
It's gonna be a
+4 there,
check.
but it's Uno with the green 9.
Last chance for
And
Brad to do anything. Is it Mac for the win?
got it.
Yes,
It's
it
over.
is.
Not
6 to 2.
didn't really spruce up the moment there or anything like that, but Mac is going to get the win. Comes the first 15 seed to win. And a 15 seed has won a tournament before, an 11 seed has made a regional final. So kind of wild how that one plays out. But for Brad, it seemed like another game where he just could not find anything there ultimately. But Mac able to at least run that a bit cleanly towards the end with the numbers there. So Mac goes from packing his bags to Super League. That did not work there, but whatever. Mac got the victory here, and you are now going into Super League. And I don't think a lot of people would have had you on the Super League card going into the season, but comments on the win, and just generally how you're feeling right now, because definitely a massive win for you. You were I remember when you were one of those players who was 0-7 at one point in series victories, and now you are a tournament winner, and you are heading off into Super League. Bro is probably freaking out right now, and the problem is he cannot freak out too much, because then he's gonna wake his kids, and that is gonna be a problem.
That's true. Silently freaking out.
Let me see if I have a gift for that. This is this is Mac right now, but in a happy sense. Uh,
That's all he can do.
it's a super.
That's a
birthday.
celebration.
All right. Gee, never thought I'd be a tournament winner. Quick pretends it's Super League. Super League birth. It's a boy. Okay. I don't think it's not. It does not. No. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
I would need to check
Down in
that,
three.
but I think that might be the oldest player in Super League we've had. But I would need to double check that. Pack up the pack. Well, I mean, he's packing his bag of the Super League. Sanford is not in the call right now, so you can't hear that. There you go. 30 years. We'd have to look. But yeah, this has been a very bizarre season so far with the winners, because I think it's been a lot of people who kind of just popped out of nowhere. But it's gonna have to be that's gonna be a big question for tournament 4 and tournament 5 if we're gonna see something similar here. But as Matt keeps going with the celebrations here, Brad, it just unfortunately was not your night here. Any moment in the series that maybe you thought could have gone differently, whether it be like a power play usage or something like that, is you still walk away with both your power plays. But in general, anything you felt maybe it could have gone different, or is it just kind of how the cookie crumbles?
There was one game, I forget which one. I had a +4 that I didn't get to use because Pack had the run before I thought, and I guess I could have done that. I think it was one of the times I played a wild and Pack had another +4, I guess. But also a lot of that time, Pack had such good cards that if I play that +4, he still has his +4 and whatever he got from the draw and the rest of his ammo cards. So I had to assume he didn't have a crazy hand because if I play the +4, he still has a crazy hand that I lose anyway. So it doesn't matter. It's you need to play under the assumption that you have a chance to win. I just didn't. Also with the power play, I really didn't have a chance to use the power play. I guess I could use it defensively, but there was not a point where I could have used it offensively, and that would have won me a game that I lost. So I don't know. Oh.
All right, well, an unfortunate, disappointing result for Brad here. He will not go back to back here, but a really good bounce back tournament here. All things considered, especially since he was 0-2 going into this, so he'll be looking for tournament 4 and tournament 5 to try and put himself back into the Super League field. However, this season it will not come from a tournament 3 victory. Tapir, any last thoughts on this series? I mean, what a crazy one. I mean, we were aiming to have this stream ending before 1 a.m. and we are 30 minutes early from that one. So, any comments on this finale? Any takeaways you have from this one, and just your general thoughts here as Mack Johnson comes the first 15 seed to win a tournament in league history, lowest seed to ever win a tournament as well.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show you that anyone can win a tournament, really. No disrespect on Mac here, but let's face it, this man was in the trenches. You know, you mentioned it yourself, 0-7 at one point. Now, you know, from zero to hero, and he's back up here, and he has won a tournament here, and he has locked his place in Super League. So it just goes to show that you should never give up, and there's always next tournament, and this is his time to shine right here, as he takes it in 8 tonight. Obviously, Brad played well. I mean, there wasn't really much you could do when you're up against 10-3 on +4s, but I could tell the wheels were churning there. I could tell they were spinning, and the gears were grinding. So I think that's to his benefit. You know, that's absolutely what I would expect from a player like Brad. This was pretty much the match that I had wanted to see for a finale. It wasn't really too, should we say, too luck oriented. There was still a little bit luck heavy, but it wasn't especially heavy, considering that that last game there, and especially the game 7. So once again, congratulations to Mac. Good game, Brad, and we will be looking forward to D4.
Again, I mean, last thoughts here. I think the pivotal moment of that match was the miss on the power play there, and I think ultimately it was a big opportunity for Brad to maybe capitalize, but I think ultimately not being able to get the jump on that one, I think ultimately was the big difference maker here. Mack really able to escape one and just kind of run away with it in game 8. But again, could end up being a what if for Brad. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, but that might keep him a little bit more motivated in trying to make it back here to get some redemption at some point down the line. Well, that will do it for us. Thank you all so much for watching Movie May. Again, technically this was my theme, so I think with how this ultimately ended up, we had the underdog hero prevail to finish the story, and now we've rolled the credits here with everyone, I guess, dancing, because that's how all these movies go nowadays. But no villains here, only protagonists, and we head off into Tournament 4, which will be Max theme. We'll see what it is, but until then, on behalf of the Emery Uno team, I mean, myself, KT, Sanford, Yoshi, Short, Llama, Zach, all those guys, everyone that helps out, Ard, can't forget Ard, and everyone, all these guys, MGR, Caesar, there's a lot of us, but yeah, as the drinks get brought out here at this point, and it's gonna be a crazy night, but I think that's a signal that we gotta wrap this up here. But on behalf of everyone, including my co-commentators up here, all the referees, including Simon, who ref this finale match, thank you all so much for watching. We will see you all in Tournament 4 for D1, but for D2, we have some more action going on with Meteorological May, with some regional finals action starting up tomorrow. 2 streams there, first of which will be in 11 hours or so, with Red and Taco going at it in the Drought regional final. So make sure you tune into that for some D2 action. But until then, I'm G-Man. We will see you all for tomorrow for D2 action, but for D1, we will see you in Tournament 4. Congratulations to Mack Johnson on the victory here tonight. And until then, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you all next time. Peace.
This has been a presentation of MRE Division 1.